It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. Things are working as always. Love it. Great to have you on. Great to have you aboard. It is Sunday night here with the boys. Maybe my mind is still on a Sunday morning with the boys. Maybe it's better when I have my morning coffee. It's a lot better. It's been a busy week. It's been a busy weekend. We've had the PLL All-Star Game come and go. We've had the Skills Challenge. We've had the women with was it Athletes Unlimited, right? Pretty amazing.
Unleashed.
Unleashed. Yeah.
Unleashed. Athletes Unleashed.
Yeah.
It's just a great group, though, man. What a
Oh, it was awesome.
Yes.
Wow, Charlotte North, man. If you weren't already impressed, holy moly. We got juniors playoffs have begun. OSL, the season just ended today, and playoffs are going to begin. MSL is just wrapping up in the next 2 days, and their playoffs will begin. WLA is heating up, and boy, they got a log jam going on, and things are just keep moving around in there. So we're going to get into all of that stuff. But before we get into any of that stuff, let me just remind everybody that all of our shows are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you can get all the action on eopsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of our affiliates. As you can see, there are many shows going on every day of the week. Please give them a look and a listen, and you will not be disappointed. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. And remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting eopsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. And while you're there, please subscribe to our newsletter. Also, if you're looking for any show in particular, you can catch all of the shows on the EOP YouTube page at EOP Sports. Or if you're looking for our stuff in particular, you can come to our YouTube page at All Across All the Time. Retro games, interviews, library of shows, and so much more. Well, guys, we are 1 week away from the Fan Cup in Philadelphia, or New Jersey to be exact. Over in Pittman, New Jersey is where the games will be played. That will be all day next Saturday. I will be in Philadelphia on Friday. So, say hi. But over at Pittman, New Jersey, at the field over there, is where the day's worth of games will be happening. And then back over to Cherry Hill for the banquet. Win or lose, you know. And that's where the ice will be for our knees. Remember, the Gales picnic is coming up on the 27th of July over at 2716 Concession Road 7, Tyrone, which is close to Whitby. As well, for the Brooklyn squad, you have their first annual golf tournament on Monday, July 22nd at Wolf Run Golf Club. All kinds of things to do and see. Contact Gavin at sbis.ca and get all your information there. The Crossing Barriers are in the middle of their, they just finished their first camps, and they have 2 more camps going on in August. Any other information that you need about the Crossing Barriers, email Scott at lacrossingbarriers.org, and he will be happy to reply and give whatever information that you need, as well as things going on during the year. Lots of things going on. Scott does a lot of traveling all over Canada and is trying to get programs up in the U.S. as well. This is going to be spectacular once it gets fully run. All-inclusive programs helping everybody with a chance to play. NLL made some news this week with Unboxed. And just to let you know, announced Powell Lacrosse as the first foundational partner of NLL Unboxed. The league's new multinational grassroots campaign unveiled last November. Powell's high-quality lacrosse sticks, balls, goals, and assortment of accessories will be packaged as core components of the league's endowment to participating elementary and middle schools across North America, providing young boys and girls with new opportunities to play lacrosse as part of their school's physical education program. We're thrilled to work with a world-class organization like the NLL on an initiative that puts lacrosse sticks in the hands of kids all over North America, said Ryan Powell, president of Powell Lacrosse. My brother Casey and I first discovered the game of lacrosse as young kids when it was introduced in one of our elementary school gym classes were moved by the history of the game and quickly developed a deep love for playing. That movement changed the trajectory of our lives, and those sticks really made us feel like we were part of something special. We know firsthand what a program like NLL Unbox can do for a kid, and the thought of a Powell lacrosse stick making a difference in the lives of kids really hits home. That's another spectacular thing, eh, guys?
Yeah, great partnership.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a great program with the Powells. The Prezi. We all remember the President's Cup from last year here in Oakville, where I got to live at the track for a week. Well, it has been announced that the 2025 President's Cup is going to Brooklyn. So just about as far, maybe even a little bit closer. So 2025, I should be living in Brooklyn. But that'll be exciting. Remember that the 2024 President's Cup is over in Ladner this coming year. And hence the playoffs just beginning now to start figuring out who's going where. Lots of great talent. So this should be an exciting time. Also, I dug this one out of the archives, guys. This was from 2014 when a young group of guys known as the Thompson brothers were playing for the Onondaga Redhawks, and they won the President's Cup. Just to walk through yesteryear.
Awesome.
Canada announced their men's roster for the World Indoor Box Lacrosse Championships. And hold on to your hats, y'all. This one is, well, if we thought Six Nations had an all-star team.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is the who's who.
Oh my. Just to name a few, Jeff T, Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Robert Church, Wes Berg. Alternates is good enough to make a team for most countries. Alex Simmons, Jeff Cornwall, Ryan Reese, Jordan Gillis, Warren Jeffrey, Mitch Jones, Brent Dobson. At defense, Ian McKay, Matt Gilray, Steve Briolo, Eli Salama, Zach Courier, Brian Cole, Graham Hossack, Jake Withers, Mitch Desnew, Latrell Harris, Challen Rogers, Nick Tchaikovsky, with Dylan Ward, Christian Del Bianco, and Nick Rose as the starting goaltenders. Wow. Wow.
Is there a weak spot in that?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And if there is, you take one from the alternates to fill that hole.
Yeah.
And my God. Anybody who says the programs aren't deep, I'm waiting to see the U.S. one because I'm sure it's almost as
That should be a good one though.
Yeah, almost as potent as this one. And the Haudenosaunee one is going to be interesting as well because it is almost as potent as the Canadian one. In fact, it might be as potent. So this is going to be a fun indoor box lacrosse championships. Yeah. If you have a chance to get out to Utica, go ahead and do it. I'm going to head out there myself for a few of the games anyways, if not all of them. But this is going to be exciting. And there's going to be some fantastic lacrosse. It's also a chance to see how these programs have improved in the last couple of years. And I know just from watching Rebeski the last few years live, that European lacrosse has gone from here to here. If they, again, it's going to be like hockey. If the North American teams are going to rest on their laurels, you're going to watch everybody else catch up, and then it's, explanation time. So what I like is that all the programs are pushing forward. So we're just getting, and the winners are, of course, us, the fans. Simple. But hey, we have some guys with us. Daniel Berry Sports, glad to have you with us.
Hey,
thanks for tuning in.
And of course, at some point, I'm sure we'll hear from Eduardo. St. Augustine, Florida, and on the hotbed, literally. Holes, apparently. But he'll be joining us at some point, I'm sure. Trying to trade places with you, Shawn.
Yeah. Although it's hot out here too, so
it's that time of the year, we get those couple of months, and then it turns brutally cold.
Yep, exactly.
So over there a little more than over here, but yeah. We're not wrenching our backs from shoveling, and Shawn doesn't shovel. He just opens up the door to white.
Yep. You get out the snowblower. You don't even shovel at that point.
I think it's more like the one that you make the subways with that tunnel borer. That's
Oh,
like,
yep.
you can't even find the Muffler Mike tractors at that point. But a little more news, guys, is the Can-Am playoffs. Interesting. The one round was canceled between the Tuscarora team and the Onondaga Redhawks. Apparently, Tuscarora could not get enough players to play in the series, so they canceled it. Onondaga moves on to the next round. My question is, and we talked about this a little off air, is one, Tuscarora is not just a fly-by-night program. They were in the Prezi last year, so they are a good squad, and they are a storied program. And number two is they played all year to make the playoffs, and now they can't field enough players. Just seems odd.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me, at least.
Like I checked with my my good friend Kim Squire, and he gave me the lowdown on it. That the last couple of games of the year they had trouble getting guys out as well, but that's just odd, just odd.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate.
Yeah. So, well, Onondaga gets a bye into the next round, and away we go. So maybe we watch an Onondaga over in the Ladner President's Cup. Okay, the NLL made a little bit more news this week, loudly, by one that got us all scratching our heads a wee bit, and that is, of course, the trade heard around the world, where Curtis Dixon is going back to the Calgary Roughnecks with a 4th round pick in the 2024 entry draft, and over to San Diego go the rights to Zach Currier, a 14th overall pick in the 2024 entry draft, and a 2nd round pick in the 2026 entry draft. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the first thing that jumped to mind is Dixon didn't leave on great terms in the first place out of Calgary.
Yep.
The second one is that he has had health issues as he's getting older, and you gave away a younger player and a higher draft pick, lower draft pick, sooner draft pick, let's use that one, to get him. I've been trying to figure that one out, and I can't seem to wrap my heads around it at all. Shawn, what do you think?
Yeah, like my immediate reaction was, okay, is Curtis maybe just going back to Calgary so he can retire as a Roughneck? But then again, that's a lot to give up for a guy who's just kind of going back to retire. So this is really, there's got to be more to this. I don't know where it lies though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Shawn that I think there's got to be more, because you already traded Shane Simpson to get that 14th pick along with Griffin Hall from Las Vegas, and then to turn around and deal away that 14th pick. It just, like you said, it's the younger player and the higher and sooner draft picks for the older player and the lower and later draft picks. And you would think something would be switched around there to make the trade look more balanced.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering what's going on in the league office that this one seems to be, approved just, there you go. To me, I would be asking all kinds of questions going, why is this so lopsided?
I mean, I guess
sorry.
I was going to say, I guess the only thing I would add though is, we've seen San Diego make some transactions in the last few years with guys where it's rights to guys. And then
that's the
turn
point
around and send it. I mean, I think they did that with Soroketti when they traded either for him. I think they traded for him because I think he was headed to New York at the time. Right? I'm sorry, that's Tyson Bomberry, I think I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So I think they had a transaction where it was rights to Tyson Bomberry that they might have traded away after they acquired him. And then I think rights to Soroketti were also dealt either to or from San Diego at one point.
Right.
Yeah.
So if it's this sort of case where, okay, we're getting the rights and something's coming in return, then maybe it would make more sense to me.
Well, maybe that's it just on paper, looking at it. Just strictly on paper, it's just the rights. So nothing guaranteed that he's going to stay in San Diego. Now, if I'm correct, he's going to be a restricted free agent. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so he's
Considering
probably
his
likely
first
going to
time and
stay.
his
He's likely still going
yeah.
to stay, but I mean, just on paper, there's nothing saying someone could match that offer.
Right. I just find it odd. And again, I don't see San Diego trading him. You got one of the premier transition guys in the league now. Have the rights to him anyway.
Yeah, and the one other thing I would add to this is Calgary already has the number 5 pick, and San Diego already had the number 12 pick in the draft. So, well, it's like you've already got the number 12 pick. Why are you trading for the number 14 pick?
Yeah. I'm at a loss for this one. This one's a stumper, and I'm hoping that something comes up in the next little bit, because again, we got free agency coming up in a couple of weeks' time, and then we're going to see a whole lot of movement. But does this get packaged with something? It baffles me. I can't see an upside to Calgary doing this.
Yeah,
especially when that was one of their highlights, is their transition game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, he's a premier transition guy in the league. And the other thing too, you have to think of, especially coming up to free agent, is this now sets a precedent on trades and the value of a player.
Right. Eduardo has joined us.
Because if San Diego is going to pay that much,
and there's your handle from Jacksonville, Florida. That is the handle, guys.
Yep. But sorry, yeah, I mean, it kind of sets the precedent now of how much a player is worth. If Calgary's going to pay that much of a price for a guy like Dixon, the other guys are going to say, "Hey, that's my worth. That's how much I'm worth now to get traded."
Yeah, and now that you say
everything up too, right?
Yeah, and now that Shawn says that, it kind of makes me rethink, like, hey, why are you trading for the 14th pick when you have the 12th pick? But we've discussed in the past too that San Diego can't operate the same way as a Toronto or a Buffalo, where you can trade draft picks away. Like, they need to have those draft picks either to get Western guys that they can keep, or to deal away for veterans who are willing to travel.
Yeah, it's true.
Older free agent veterans.
It's true. Just I guess I scratch my head a little bit because Calgary's in the same boat, though, are they not?
It's true.
Yeah,
not as much. BC is not that far away, and
true. Yeah. I mean, that would be my only.
They're kind of in the middle of it because you've got the RBLL as well. It's close to them. Hey, Dave. Yes, a shout out to the 12 and under Delco Outlaw softball girls team. Finished 4th out of 24. Excellent.
Awesome.
In Virginia. Great weekend for the girls.
Yeah.
They had a great weekend. I saw his post on Facebook. It was fantastic. And that must have just been so exciting to be at, Dave. Yeah. Kudos to all the girls. Congratulations. Sky's the limit. So.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that just I'm very curious about how that all how that plays out a little bit further down the road, closer to draft time. So I'm sure that we're going to hear something more about something of this before we get to the draft and before we get through free agency and signings. Something has to come of this that we would hear something to make sense of it. Because obviously there's a piece missing for us outside that obviously that these guys know or expecting or trying to do or whatever. But just offhand, it just seems odd.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, more so, I think when you look at it from Calgary's perspective and think about the fact that, you've traded Simpson now, you've traded Courier now, when you traded Simpson, one of the pieces you got back, you just traded in the number 14 pick. So it's boy, that's an awful lot to
and
give.
and what'd you get in return? An aging star. That's probably the back half of his career.
Yeah,
that is
now,
not.
I mean,
most of the year.
you got Griffin Hall too, but how much is Griffin Hall going to move the needle on the defensive end?
Yeah.
Right.
He's young. He doesn't have a whole lot of service time or playing time on the floor.
And with all due respect to him, who would you rather have, Zach Curry or Griffin Hall? I mean, with all due respect.
Yeah.
I mean,
you need to hope that you're catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure to put on Griffin Hall too.
Right.
He's got big shoes to fill. Yeah.
Sorry. Just a reminder that this part of the show is brought to you by Sherry's Tickets.
Great moments don't just happen, they happen with you in the crowd. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more with Sherry'sTickets.com and get the tickets you want. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 and share an experience that will live on. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. For that next great moment, save 10% by using the promo code EOP10. Great moments start at Sherry'sTickets.com.
Absolutely. Lots of things to take a look at for Sherry's Tickets, too. Lots of things heating up, especially in Philadelphia, man. The Phillies are just romping for the second half of the season. Didn't look so good today. They lost 18-1 or something like that, but that's okay. They can have one. Here in Toronto, we have a lot of those games lately. Hey, I'll tell you, though, guys, I just as a side note, Craig Wendy is getting married, and they have an online auction, whatever going on. I won a pair of Jays tickets, but not just any tickets, man. I won the ones where you see on the TV behind the plate there, where you have the waiter and the waitress. And I look forward to that one.
You're pretty sweet.
All right.
Great way to start the week, guys. I'm telling you. I was waking up to that and seeing that I had won. I was like, oh, I never went into this stuff. I'm usually the donator, the ATM, if you will. I get invited to a lot of it just so I can go dole out the money. But hey, that's the way it goes. Even a broken clock's right twice a day, and might as well have mine. But anyways, let's get on to juniors, and we're going to start out west, and some crazy stuff going on, eh?
Yeah, I guess we'll start off out in BC, where they just kind of wrapped up their regular season. Maybe just go back to Sunday since we had the morning show there. We had Coquitlam again, just kind of taking that stranglehold on first place. They beat Victoria 17-12, and then that same night, Nanaimo came up with a 13-6 win over Langley. And heading into Tuesday, Victoria bounced back for a 10-6 win over Nanaimo. And New Westminster took a 10-9 win over Delta. Thursday, you had Port Coquitlam, 9-3 winners over Langley. Friday, again, Coquitlam with another big win, 12-7 over Delta on Friday. And then Saturday, to wrap up the regular season, you had Burnaby 11, Nanaimo 7, and then Port Coquitlam 12 and Delta 7. So with that, we head to the playoffs, which starts this week. So you'll have Coquitlam Adnax. They finished first at 15-3. So they'll take number 4 seed. The Burnaby Lakers at 10-7-1. Then 2 versus 3. So the 2 seed Port Coquitlam Saints at 12-5-1 will take on the Nanaimo Timbermen at 11-7. So that all gets underway this coming week. Over in Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League in Alberta, their playoffs started this week on Tuesday. The Raiders and Mounties played their game 1. The Raiders taking game 1 15-6. Game 1 of the Miners and the SWAT was the Miners taking a 14-3 win. Game 2 for the Raiders and the Mounties. The Raiders go up 2-0 in their series with an 8-3 win. And the Miners went up 2-0 with a 16-5 win. And then just this afternoon, actually, Game 3 of the Raiders and Mounties. The Raiders take a 3-0 win. So they're pushing the Mounties on the brink of elimination with a 13-5 win.
All righty. Over in Ontario, the playoffs started this weekend. And the first game was what I thought was going to be the game of the week. And I put it up on our Facebook page, the OJLL game. And that was the Toronto Beaches over in Orangeville. And Orangeville, well, put it to them. It was 12-8 as your final in that game. Really, I thought it was going to be closer. And I'm hoping that the rest of the series is a little bit closer, like it should be. We all know all the headaches between the two of them, and the league. It's weird, man. It's one thing that you punished Toronto, you took away their 8 wins, you took away all their goals, you took away everything else to do with it, as well as the players, and then you made them put out a little print thing that said, yes, we did this. Isn't that a little bit much?
Yeah, I think the key word there too, wasn't it, Gary? Is they made them. They basically put a gun, more or less put a gun to their head and said,
you will do this.
You will do this. Yeah.
So they had to put out a statement agreeing with, of course, the OLA. And you know how much I love the OLA.
Yeah. Unsanctioned.
Nothing but throwing the game with them.
Yep. Careful, 2-year suspension incoming.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the funny thing is, Gary, just to go off a little bit of a side note, though, in BC Junior B, they also had an issue with eligible players and rankings and some teams losing wins as well. So something's going on across the country where teams are not understanding how players transfer and how rosters are getting set and eligibility rules. Yeah.
Well,
that issue. I was going to say that issue was, I think, was the low playoff seed, right? I think it was the NIMOS.
So yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think they had some ineligible players, as I understand it, and they were going to agree to not play as the lowest playoff seed, but then the next 3 teams in line, I think, were offered their spot and had to decline because they'd already made transactions, released players, and just basically weren't able to field those.
That's why we need the unsanctioned stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, like I say, I have no problem with the punishment. I have no problem with if it's done, if it's wrong. But the extra little kicker of making this public statement is just it's overkill in my eyes. And, to have it come out after all of this months afterwards is just pointless.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that's just
that's your findings. You published your findings. Why make them rehash it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, continuing on with the junior playoffs. Also on Friday night, Six Nations played the Peterborough Lakers, and they came away with an 8-6 victory in that game. Great game. I watched a lot of the highlights. Delby Palace had it up on his page, and it was just great to watch. Some really great lacrosse. And one that was another one that is just a superb game defensively was the Burlington Blaze against the St. Catharines Athletics, and Burlington came away with an 8-7 win in that game. Heading into Saturday, Brampton went over to Mimico, and it was like 2017 all over again. The game got chippy, and the game got rough. I even saw one of the guys who was scratched from Mimico go at one of the guys at Brampton who got the penalty for taking a little bit of thing. And it just the bad blood is there. It's ingrained. If you're wearing maroon or you're wearing blue, you don't like each other. It's really obvious. but hopefully cooler heads will prevail because they're both really great teams. So looking forward to seeing some great lacrosse. Into today, we had Six Nations beat Peterborough again, 8-6, in another fantastic game. The shots on goal in this thing was Peterborough had 55 shots to 47 for Six Nations. This was a shooting gallery. So I can't even try and pronounce the Six Nations goalie. Thompson is the last name. Sacramento Thompson. And Cole Gervais over for Peterborough. But what a great game, guys. Moving further along, we had the Burlington Blaze and St. Catharines this evening. And St. Catharines came away with the 8-4 win on this one. So that series is tied. And again, a shooting gallery where the shots, 61 shots for St. Catharines to 49 for Burlington. Oliver Vagno in net for St. Catharines. And Callum Lever, Preya, playing great for Burlington. Because remember, last year they had Deacon Knott, and he's been doing Senior B and Senior A. So he had Orangeville and the Beaches in their next of the games. And Orangeville took it to him again, 10-6. Lastly, we have Mimico and Brampton that played tonight. And Mimico beat Brampton 11-6. 61 shots for Mimico. Marcus Mattel started net for Brampton. Gavin Clark relieved him. Nate Whittam with a win for Mimico. So there you have it. Upcoming, we have St. Catharines on Monday and Burlington, Six Nations, Peterborough. Tuesday is the Beaches, Orangeville, Brampton, and Mimico for their third game out of best of 5 here. So, alrighty. Just before we head on over to the PLL, because we had something of a All-Star Game, I guess.
Something like that.
Just a reminder, this part of the show is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips.
If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. If you want to travel with the pros, then go to phillysportstrips.com. Philly Sports Trips features premium travel and tailgating experiences for the best fans ever the Philadelphia sports fan. Philly Sports Trips has self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights for Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and even the Union. They even offer day trips for more local games. Go to phillysportstrips.com, sign up immediately, and tell them EOP sent you. Do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2024 season, including the Brazil trip week 1. Jump on it now before you lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com and don't miss the next great Philly sports moment.
All right, and I have a question here for you, Shawn, out of from In the Box. Someone tell me why the Brewers won the PGLL Senior League, but aren't the team from Sask heading to the Prezi?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. First I've heard this, so
we're going to look into that for you.
Yeah,
definitely. Check back with us during the week. We will have an answer for you, but we will look into that for you. Alrighty, over to the PLL we go. And a little bit of a to-do. We had an all-star game and a skills challenge. And I'm always a big fan of those skills challenges because, well, they're fun. But, boy, this time around, the hardest shot this time when it was men versus women. And, Charlotte North really put up a big display. I think she would have been 85 to 90% of the guys who were playing with that. Was it 91?
191.
91 miles per hour on her shot.
I think she had a 93 nasty. That didn't count.
Yeah, it hit the post.
Yeah, the post.
That's just wild.
Yeah.
The Airgate Award went to
Ryder Guernsey.
Ryder Guernsey, yeah. And, of course, accuracy.
And again, that was North against Holman in the final.
Yep. Yeah. And, well, Holman, he's just amazing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially when it came time to those 2 balls from the pass. He was just deadly accurate.
Yeah.
Well, talk to us about the game there, Shawn. It was quite the. That's probably the best All-Star game I've seen in a lot of years. We've seen games where they've tried all kinds of things with 4-point, behind the arc goals, and it was 243 to 197. And this game, 15-12,
Yeah.
man. This game was not a gimme at any point in this day.
No, it was actually a competitive game. The East came up with a 15-12 win, but the West was actually leading at the half, 7-6. So it was really a back and forth battle. Marcus Holman, we were just talking about him, now a 2-time All-Star MVP with 5 points, 4 goals, including 1 2-pointer. We saw a little bit of everything, including a goaltender goal by Tim
was
Troutner.
A beauty too, hey, behind the back. Oh, Troutner with that big stick. Just amazing. The skill level and the talent. It's funny because, I of course, I'm always pumping Jeff Teat, right? And I saw him, I think, twice on the field that I noticed him.
There's just so much skill there.
Else going on. And of course, all of his colleagues from Atlas doing their thing, but he could take the day off, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, on the other side, too, even with the West, I mean, Mac O'Keefe had a hat trick and an assist, 3 points with Tom Schreiber, 5 points from Xander Dixon for the East with 2 goals and 3 assists. Ryan Drenner, 2 goals and an assist. It was a shootout.
Highlight reel goal also, right? That was Schreiber on a bet. Behind the back thing and then the money thing, but that was a lot of fun. Just shows you how much respect they have for each other and how much fun they have doing this. The other goal that he had from just inside the arc, wow.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing that in the NLL game. Where are these goals? Everything is shoot from the outside, way from the outside, and hope it makes it to the net. So let's do some of this stuff with the NLL and with the Rob. Looking forward to seeing that live, Tom. But yeah, fun was had by all. Great crowd.
Yep.
Lots of excitement. Everybody was having a great time. People in the stands, announcers, wives, other players. Everybody's having a great time. And kudos to Paul Rabel for, tinkering around with this to make this a very, very exciting game. Because we watched a few of them, which, if you like scoring, great. If you like goaltending, not so hot. If you like other things, and trying different things. And I think we've got one now.
And even with the skills competition, adding that Unleashed with the women and that Airgate competition is just great. Almost like, a freestyle crease dive competition. Why not?
Sure, you got it. And you got the players with the skill.
Yeah.
Let's show it off. He's smart enough to know with the platform of ESPN, TSN, this is where you want to get it shown. I'm still hoping that the NLL finally comes back with an all-star game because this can be happening in box. And imagine a skill competition you can have there.
And then add in some women box in the skills competition.
Absolutely.
Highlight the women as well, right?
Absolutely.
Put a highlight in that.
Because I actually think the women's shooting is actually more precise than the guys shooting. Because if you ever tried to shoot with one of those women's sticks that don't have pockets, you're lucky if you hit the net. And for them to go with such accuracy, I am totally in awe watching Charlotte North do that.
And she's doing that with the short stick too, right? Like Jared Newman, he has more leverage with the long pole. He can whip it a lot harder, obviously, because of
also that he's about 6'4" and she's 5'7". He's about 230 and she's about what, 145, 150?
Yeah. But to do with a short stick with no pocket, still do 91, 93 if you're going to hit the post.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It's amazing. And like I say, if you've ever tried to shoot one of those sticks, if you can make it anywhere in the vicinity of the net, you're doing great. To be that deadly accurate, to watch her in the accuracy competition with one of those sticks is just amazing. If you don't think they have a whole lot of skill, my God, I would rival the top 10 of those against probably any of the top 30 in the NLL.
100%, yeah.
Because they are just so skilled and quick and can absolutely, any move that the guys do, women can do just as well. So get behind this. Again, Athletes Unleashed. They start up in about a week's time. And again, it's on all the ESPN platforms as well. You can find it out there. Support it. Support it. Because women's professional box lacrosse or field lacrosse is here and really should get all of our support. They've earned it.
Absolutely.
100%.
So anyways, we go back to a regular schedule next week. And we're in Mike's backyard. We're in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Yep.
And I'm sure Mike will wave a flag. Going on by. And, well, our first game is on the Friday, and it is Denver against Philadelphia. Really a must-win at this stage now for Philadelphia.
Both teams, I think.
Yeah.
Really.
I would suggest that it's probably a little bit more dire. Philadelphia going down 1-5.
Really.
I just don't see them making much of a comeback if they're there. So look for something big coming out of Philadelphia. But then again, Denver didn't look good heading into the All-Star break. Didn't look good at all. We could say they looked downright miserable against the Athletes. Because except for their offense and defense, they were right there. So let's hope that a week off just to reset will get them a little bit more in tune. I'm curious to see what Denver team comes out, though. Now that we talk about that, though. Do we get the one that was at the beginning of the year, or do we get the one that was at the end against Atlas?
That's more the problem, Ray, is consistency.
Because I have no idea which one's going to show up.
Yep.
And Philadelphia is your wounded animal. This isn't the one you want to try and tinker away with different strategies. You need what works and quickly.
Yeah, and hopefully they have Sowers back too, because I guess Sowers was out for the All-Star game with a hamstring strain.
Yeah.
So
there's no point in aggravating it in something like that. No. So. All right. The late game on Friday is Carolina against Maryland, and they're both sitting at 2-3. So this is a big one also. Divisional game.
Yeah, and then, you know, a win by the Water Dogs and a loss by the Whip Snakes puts them, you know, tied for third place in the Eastern Conference at 2-4. So that'll be huge.
Alrighty. Then the one they're billing as the big game of the weekend is the early game on Saturday, which is the New York Atlas against the Boston Cannons, of team 5-1 against a team 4-2. I agree. This is going to be a slobber knocker over 3 p.m. on Eastern on Saturday. It is on ESPN Plus and ABC. So it is your network game. But this one's going to be a good one. Curious if Boston can control the Atlas offense. Because nobody else has been able to so far. But it will be interesting. It will be interesting. Everybody is rested and everybody is healthy on Atlas as well. They have an interesting problem, though. Hey, Shawn? Goaltending.
Yeah.
You know.
Who do you go with Atlas now?
Funny thing is that they had to put the rookie in to see what they had. And well, look at that.
Yeah.
And Troutner, they've been doing nothing but winning with him. And, well, you know, he looked great in the All-Star game, too. He made some big saves. So, hands down.
Where do you go? Do you go with the hot hand or the veteran? Yeah.
That's a great problem to have. I would be going with Troutner myself and relieving with with I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Antiman.
Antiman, that's right. If the game's out of hand, put him in. If not, down the stretch a little bit once things are a little bit more settled. And if he's riding a hot hand like that first game, then we'll see. But for the time being, I would have Troutner in there.
And that's a fair call. We go with veteran, yeah.
The later game on Saturday is Utah against the California Redwoods. 3-2 Archers against the 1-3 Redwoods. This again is one of those I would call a must-win for California, but they have a really tall order. The Archers look good.
Yeah, they're kind of in the same boat as the Water Dogs, where if they don't start winning, they're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, and I believe the following week for them is their homecoming. So
that's it over in San Diego. Yeah,
so they need to build some momentum.
Love that stadium too. Torero's a great stadium over at the University of San Diego. So I'd love to, put my dollars together and get out there for that. But I don't think that one's in the cards. But we'll see. Maybe we wave at Mike on TV. Mike. See what we can do. Anyways. So that's the week that's upcoming in PLL. So as we move further across, as I'd mentioned earlier, the Ontario Series Lacrosse, they finished up their season this weekend with 5 games. And, we had some interesting ones, I'll tell you. Hamilton faced Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was still in it for first place with this one. They beat Hamilton 13-10, which put them at 14-2 for the season. Six Nations was sitting at 13-2, playing Six Nations, they wound up beating Owen Sound 14-9. Six Nations did, so they wind up on top because of that one game that the two faced each other. Six Nations winds up on top of your standings at the end. They both are 14-2. Pretty great records. The other game on Saturday was Brooklyn facing Clearview. At this stage, it was already in the books. Brooklyn beat Clearview 15-8, but Clearview, they fired their coach a week or so ago. Ryan McMichael is no longer the head coach of Clearview. They've had a strange year because, a goal here. They lost 3 one-goal games and had 1 tie this year. Those games go their way, and they're sitting comfortably in the playoffs. They didn't, and they're outside looking in with Ennismore. Ennismore played Clearview today and came away with a 10-9 win. This game was interesting. I believe it was 1-0 after 1. And I believe it was 3-2 after 2. And all of a sudden, 4-3 after 2. And it's just 12 goals in the third. And it looked for a while that Ennismore just pulled way out in front. And with about 2 minutes left, Clearview scored 3 quick goals. The last one with 54 seconds left. With the goalie pulled, they threw everything at Ennismore. Andrew Kidd in net saved the show. So Ennismore got their second win of the year. So both programs have a lot of great players in there. So I'm expecting big things coming up as they move along. Because guys like Carter Page, Holden Lowe's, Adam Churchill, even Nick Webb are all going to be great players. And they're all playing for Ennismore. And with a goalie like Andrew Kidd, this is really going to be a strong team if they're left to grow together.
Yeah, and I mean, with I was going to say, in Kidd's case, he may be looking at being the backup to Dougie Jameson in Albany in the winter.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that they've traded Justin Getty, so
I have to think that somebody in the MSL is going to be looking at scooping him up and pulling him on their summer roster for Senior A. I just can't see him sitting in Senior B because he's great. He really is a terrific goalie. Watching him live, he's not the biggest guy. That's the only knock against him. But boy, can he move. Then again, Del Bianco was never the biggest guy either. And nobody seemed to say anything there, did they?
No.
And for Clearview, with guys like Riley Morgan, Braden Hickey, Niall Sear, Graham Bergsma, Jordan Roberts, they have a lot of talent as well. Garrett Hay, we heard from him from ALL as well. Just an absolute spark plug for that team. And Hay wasn't even playing in this game, so if he was playing, Clearview probably would have come away with his win. So, interesting way to end the season. The standings to finish. Let me just pull this up for you. As you can see, Six Nations on top. I'm sorry, Brooklyn was finished off at 14-3 or 13-3. So Six Nations finished on top. Hamilton is in third, and Owen Sound. So you're going to have Six Nations versus Owen Sound, Brooklyn versus Hamilton in the playoffs. Going to be some interesting games. They've all played each other tough. In fact, Owen Sound, one of their wins was against Six Nations. So just to keep that remembering. So that is it for Ontario Senior B, OSL. We be moving into WLA in a minute, but just a reminder, this part of the show is brought to you by Dolan's.
When you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park, right off I-95 south of the Philadelphia airport. For over 65 years, Dolan's has thrived because of one reason: the amazing people of Philadelphia. Great music, great times, memorabilia, giveaways, great drinks, and great food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through that door. You go to Dolan's at 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park in the 19078. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
You saw him there, didn't you, Mike? Oh, you're at the bar.
No, I didn't. He's incognito.
I'm hoping somebody
You don't know who he is.
glasses his keys from him. Because the last thing you want is a drunk dog driving down the road. Anyways, Western Lacrosse Association had another really busy week, and it's really heating up out west. Let's start off with last Sunday. And, the Adnacs put another victory under their belts against the Berards.
They did. And actually, both teams, I believe, played 3 games last week. It was a busiest week of the year, with 8 games total being played. But Coquitlam and Maple Ridge kind of got the short end of the stick, having to play 3 games each. Maple Ridge was looking to sweep their games. They had won their first 2, but maybe ran out of gas a bit on the third game. Same could be said for Coquitlam. This was a low-scoring one. The Adnacs come away with a 6-3 win that Sunday night. For Coquitlam, Brian Gillis, 2 goals. Chase McIntyre, 1-1. Keen Moon had 1-1. John Hofseth, goal and 3 assists. Andrew Gallant, again, another stellar performance, 48 saves on 51 shots. For Maple Ridge, not much. Dylan McIntosh, a goal and an assist. Garrett Winter, a goal. Trevor Funk, a goal. Brandon Humphrey, 34 saves in the losing effort. So the Berards fell back under 500. They had worked their way to 6-6 and second place before losing the last of their slate last week. So.
Alrighty. And then we move over. Sorry, I had my screen is gone. The Thunder and Timberman. And Langley Thunder pull up another victory.
Yeah, and 12-8 win over Nanaimo after kind of a slow start to the season. Langley's kind of bringing themselves back into kind of playoff contention. Really, the story of this game was Aiden Walsh. Nanaimo outshot the Thunder 59-40, and Thunder came away with the 12-8 win. So Aiden Walsh made 51 saves in the victory. Really top scorer for the Thunder. Chase Scanlon had 4 goals, 3 assists. Connor Robinson back in the lineup for the Thunder, 2 goals and 5 assists. Clay Scanlon, a goal and 2 assists. From Nanaimo, Tiger Clark had a pair of goals and an assist. Jason Knox, a goal and 2 assists. Zach Mans with a pair of assists. So, a little bit of a hiccup there with, I guess, the Nanaimo offense. They're getting the shots, but they're just not finding the back of the net.
Right. All right. So we move on over to Tuesday, and the Lakers and the Berards, and the Lakers come out with a big win.
Yeah, a 15-7 win. It's really a shooting gallery. Shots were 28-51. Jacob Dunbar had a massive game for Burnaby. 3 goals and 8 assists for 11 points. Then Ben McDonald also for the Lakers had 5 goals and 2 assists for 7 points. So 8 of those goals came from Dunbar and McDonald. Alex Bouquet with the win, 44 saves. Really it was kind of the Lakers from start to finish in this one to kind of, again, tighten up those standings.
Yeah, and I just want to add a couple of quick things to that. Tough go for Maple Ridge. That's their fourth game in 6 days, I believe.
Yeah, that's a long trip.
So yeah, I mean, if they were gassed that previous Sunday against Coquitlam, imagine
that would have done it. Yeah.
Later. And the other thing I want to add, Jacob Dunbar plays for the Seals, so you got to think he's going to get a lot more reps this year with them trading Curtis Dixon. He's probably going to be.
Well, if you remember when Dixon went out, he's the one who replaced him, right? Yeah. I watched him firsthand against Rock when I was there in San Diego, and he took the ball, so to speak, and ran with it. He really fit into that offense nicely.
Yeah, he's
kind of another scenario, kind of like Zach Mans, right, where you just got to give him an opportunity. Like you can see what he does in the summer. He just needs the floor time.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to.
Well, the other thing with Dunbar is you got to remember the Austin Stotts is out for 9 games, so they're missing a couple of big offensive pieces.
Yep.
All right, so we move over to Wednesday, and the Timbermen meet up with the Shamrocks.
Yep, and
wait, no, here, man, I don't get on you guys.
No, it's all good. So Shamrocks stay perfect on the year. 14-8 is your final against Nanaimo. Despite a big game from Jason Knox for Nanaimo, he had 4 goals. Lucas Olson, a goal and 3 assists. Tiger Clark had 5 assists for Nanaimo in the game. And Colby Bowman, he seems to be the guy in net now for Nanaimo. So 46 saves. For Victoria, the usual suspects, she had Jesse King, 4 goals, 2 assists. Marshall King, 3 and 3. Matthew Gauthier, 2 and 1. Liam Phillips had a pair of goals. Cam Dunkerley got the start in net, made 37 saves in the win.
All righty. And now we move over to Thursday and the Thunder and the Salmon Bellies. And here's my thing for you, Mike. What's wrong with the Salmon Bellies?
Yeah, we'll get to a little bit of it now and a little bit later.
You know you're having problems when it's a 2-part.
Well, it is, and like I said, it'll come up again at the end of this segment here. when we look at the standings and the remaining schedules. But Langley goes into Queens Park Arena and comes away with a 15-11 win. For Langley, Robert Church, big night, 5 goals, 3 assists. Connor Robinson had a hat trick and an assist. Clay Scanlon, also a hat trick and an assist. Chase Scanlon, 2 and 3. Charles Scanlon, 1 and 4. And Aiden Walsh coming up big, 51 saves in the win. For the Salmon Bellies, it seems to be Will Malcolm and maybe not much else after that. 2 goals, 5 assists. Austin Ducommon had a goal and 4 assists. Jeff Cornwall had a goal, and newly signed Adam Charlambides also had a goal for New West in the losing effort.
Right. And on Friday we had the scare for the season. Yeah, Burnaby going into Victoria, and there was a point there when we were messaging each other where we actually thought that this could be the one. Shamrocks come away with an 11-10 victory, and if I remember my comment, it was,
yeah.
Where's this Burnaby team coming from? All of a sudden,
on fire. I mean, building from that Tuesday win over Maple Ridge. Victoria had a 3-goal lead in the third period, and Burnaby went on a 3-goal run to tie it, and just couldn't find the equalizing goal, unfortunately.
also the shots on net. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the big thing that stands out to me, really, for 2 reasons. I mean, one, for Burnaby to allow 69 shots is that's brutal. Keegan Miletchuk and Chayton Hetman combined for 58 saves. Hetman saved all 11 shots that he faced in the game. But on the flip side, Burnaby, just 34 shots, but you scored 10 goals. I mean, that's just a hair under 30% of scoring efficiency, which is pretty dang good for WLA, any WLA team.
It's uncharacteristic for Cam Dunkerley to.
Yeah, Dunkerley made 24 saves in the win. For Victoria, Gautier, 2 and 3. Jesse King had a hat trick. Casey Wilson had a goal and 4 assists. I believe his goal was the winning goal. A little shout out to Stuart Phillips for Burnaby. It was his birthday, and he was playing his first game for Burnaby. 4 goals.
4 goals,
effort. Efren Barreto Jr. had 4 assists. Jacob Dunbar, 2 and 2. But, unfortunately, Burnaby falls again, still at the bottom of the standings, but, they're within a couple of wins of a playoff spot. So, but Victoria stays perfect. They're now 13-0. Call it lucky 13, I guess. Oh, and just one other thing I want to point out. If you want to see a good clip, check out on the ELP website my article on the Langley New West game. There's a great Twitter clip that the WLA posted of one of Clay Scanlon. I think it's one of Clay Scanlon's goals. He is in New West zone, lays out a Salmon Bellies player who passes back, I think, either the goalie or another defender who tries to get it up the floor. Scanlon then intercepts the pass and a few seconds later fires in a goal. So talk about doing it all in one play.
Yeah.
All right. We're going on to Saturday, and the Thunder and the Adnax play. And wow. Almost thought Langley would come away with this one.
Yeah, and a big one with big ramifications. Langley came into this game. They were this was actually the rubber match, if you will, between Langley and Coquitlam in the third meeting. And a Langley win actually would have kind of tied the season series at 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 tie between the two teams. But Coquitlam manages to survive another big night from Robert Church and win 8-7 in overtime. And the win's also big for Coquitlam, not just because they win the season series 2-0-1 against Langley, but they moved into second place, virtual tie with Langley that we'll see in the standings shortly. Tyler Kirkby, a goal and 4 assists. He actually had the overtime winner. Riley Isaacs had 2 goals and 2 assists for Coquitlam. Adam Noakes had 2 and 1. Matt Delmonico, 3 assists. And, of course, Andrew Gallant continuing his stellar season for Coquitlam, 38 saves. For the Thunder, big night from Robert Church, 5 goals, 2 assists. So he was in on every Langley goal on the night. Chase Scanlon had 6 assists. Connor Robertson had a goal and 2 assists, and Aiden Walsh 47 saves in the loss.
All right. Brings us to the final game of the week, and that is, of course, Mike, part 2. What is wrong with the Salmon Bellies?
I'm going to leave that one for Shawn.
Yeah, and this was a head scratcher. First of all, this was a big win for Nanaimo because being in the basement with such tight standings, they really needed this one to kind of keep pace, especially they have games in hand, so they really need to kind of keep pace. But they take a 14-10 win over New Westminster. Colby Bowman for Nanaimo. New West outshot them 58-49, and Bowman stopped 48 of those shots for the win. So he's had another outstanding season, and again, it's a head scratcher too because we're talking about kind of newly signed players. Let me just get this up here. I believe Mike Messenger. Yeah, Mike Messenger was 17 for 24 at the faceoff dot. So I mean, they were getting those extra possessions as well. Will Malcolm had 4 goals and 2 assists. And again, kind of a reliance on Will Malcolm. They did get a bigger game out of Adam Charlambides, 2 goals and 2 assists. I think they really kind of need a little bit more out of him, I would say, just kind of help kind of play that second chair to Will Malcolm. Even then, they could use kind of third, fourth line scoring. The Timbermen, Jason Knox, 6 assists. Zach Mann's a goal and 4 assists. Colton Lidstone had the hat trick and assist. So did John Phillips, a hat trick and assist in that win. But you shrug your shoulders at this one. I mean, New West outshot them, had them on face-offs, but really the only one who was producing was Will Malcolm.
Right. All right. Let's bring up the upcoming games here. And as you see, Tuesday, New West is in Coquitlam. Wednesday, Nanaimo is at Langley. Thursday, Burnaby and New West. Friday, Coquitlam in Victoria. Also Friday, Nanaimo and Burnaby. And Saturday, Victoria at Nanaimo. Busy week, guys.
Yeah. If you want to go,
some important games there.
If you want to go over to that, can you bring that up again and go to the other tab?
Yeah, sure. Just give me a sec. Trying to figure out Mike.
Bottom on your screen there,
at
Gary.
The bottom, head splits there.
Oh, okay, head splits. Right.
Let's see if we can zoom in on that a bit.
I think that's the best I can do for you.
Yeah, so, just looking at this, I think what's going to be working in New West's favor certainly is, they've still got one game to go against Burnaby, who they already hold a tiebreaker on. You've got 2 games against Coquitlam, who you're already up 1-0 on in the season series. But, it's going to be a problem because then you've got Maple Ridge, who you lost to twice. I believe, no, I don't see there's one more column off to the right with their record versus Victoria, which is obviously they have yet to beat Victoria.
Yeah.
But I believe they have a game left against them. So
the only tiebreakers they've got is Burnaby and possibly Coquitlam.
Yeah. And they can still, so you look at that, and the yellow, for the folks watching, and anything in yellow means that, that team, if you're reading left to right, they've lost that series. Everyone plays each other 3 times. So, you want to be more like Victoria and have as much green there as possible. But New West, I mean, they're in danger of losing 5 of their 6 series on the year. So, and I think it comes down to they've lost some key players. They don't have Kevin Crowley this year. They don't have Keegan Ball. They don't have Tony Malcolm. They don't have Brett Midsky. They don't have Zach Higgins either.
True.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even know how many games Neil Tyak has played with them.
Tyak's been on the roster. I was going to say Tyak's been on the roster,
he's
but
only played a handful of games.
Oops.
He kind of started out the season playing.
Well, that's the other head scratcher, Mike, because like Tyak split time with Justin Getty against Langley, but they really haven't gotten solid goaltending out of either one of them. And it seems like they kind of seem to be going to the default with Justin Getty, which doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah. It's just I wish I had a better explanation.
And like I said, they've made moves with bringing in Mike Messenger late in the season and bringing in Adam Charles and Beatties, but is it too little, too late?
It might be, and I mean, you think about 2 years ago, I think they started similarly to what they. No, I think I have that turned around a bit. I think 2 years ago, I want to say they got off to like a 3-5 start, and they ended up finishing 9-9, and that was that year that you had Victoria, Coquitlam, Nanaimo, and Langley all at 12-6.
Right.
It was 2 years ago.
Right.
So they ended up missing the playoffs at 9-9. Of course, they reloaded with a lot of the guys that I just mentioned and made it all the way to the Mann Cup final. But, I mean, they started 5-2.
Well, and that's the weird thing, though. And I think
straight.
we talked about them. Like, that's the weird thing, too, especially with Victoria, which could potentially go 18-0. You could see an 8-10, 7-11 team make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at this, everyone here is under 500.
Yeah.
Other than Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
So, 9-9. I mean, I think it's a safe bet that 9-9 is going to get you in.
Yeah.
Just, if you're New West, can you get to 9-9 at this point? I mean, it's not looking good. Yeah, like I said, you've got to play. I think you've got to play one more against Maple Ridge, who you've lost the series to. You've got to play one more against Victoria, who you've lost the season series to. You've got 2 against Coquitlam, who you have an edge on, but could lose a season series to. You're playing I'd say a pretty hot Burnaby team, despite their record.
Yeah.
They had that midseason.
But I don't think they can make it either, man. That's a lot. Out of 6 games, they have to win 5 of them.
Or at least 4.
8-10 could still get you if you get get a tie and get the tiebreaker and have the head-to-head, depending on who you're tied with. So
Right.
And I think that's what's going to hurt them at this point. Even if they go 4-1, let's say for the sake of for the sake of the Shamrocks' perfect season, let's say their only other loss going out is Victoria. So you're beating Maple Ridge, you're beating Burnaby, you're beating Coquitlam twice. You're 9-9. Your only series wins are Burnaby, who's already below you, and Coquitlam. Maybe that's enough to climb into a playoff spot, but if Nanaimo gets hot,
Right.
Yeah.
they own a tiebreaker against you. Maple Ridge owns a tiebreaker against you. All they need to do is match your record at that point. So,
Because I mean, and yeah, at the end of
the other thing I was going to add are these ties are going to be. These ties could be really helpful or really brutal for these teams. And really, right now, it looks like, Langley and Coquitlam, that the ties are helping them.
well, yeah, because that's the other thing you have to take in consideration too. Is talking about it's going to be tough for Burnaby or even Nanaimo at 4-7-1, but they've still got games in hand.
Yeah,
and they're only 2 games back of Coquitlam, Langley, and Maple Ridge.
Yep.
So it's not out of the realm that they could get up there.
No, it's really not. So,
Right.
It's definitely going to be interesting. So,
it's going to be the next couple of weeks are going to be very, very interesting for sure.
Yeah, almost every game's going to be important.
Yeah. And boy,
except for Victoria.
and I was going to say too, how about being Maple Ridge, and now you're going to sit idle for a week, and you could watch yourself drop in the standings, before resuming your the rest of your schedule. But I mean, on the flip side, you've got I want to say I think Burnaby. What they have 5 games left, or 6 games left. But
Burnaby has 6 games left, yeah.
But I think I want to say, or maybe I got that wrong. I noticed when I was doing recaps and fixing up that spreadsheet this morning that there's a team somewhere in there that doesn't play in week 11 at all, that they finish up. So they're going to have to kind of sit, like Maple Ridge is sitting this week. They're going to have to sit the last week and kind of hope that what they've done is good enough.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, let's head over to the MSL, and we're almost at the end of their season. There's only 2 games left, and Oakville's part of both of them. One is from the cancellation game that's on Tuesday, but Monday they have one more game. But this is pretty much all set up now. We'll start off with last Sunday, which why we had to have the morning show. I was in Cobourg for the Six Nations Cobourg game, and well, I went there. Most of Cobourg didn't. over in the meat locker there. Boy, oh boy, did it get cold! I'm telling you, it's. I felt like it was winter. I'm pretty sure people brought out skates in the between the second and third periods. But Doug Jamieson was in the nets for Six Nations, not Warren Hill, and Stephen Orleman for Cobourg. Early and often. That's the way of the land there for Six Nations. They continue their dominance over the league with the convincing effort over at Cobourg. Tyson Bell had an exceptional game. He had 2 coast-to-coast goals in this game. As well, Austin Stotts with 4 goals, just continuing his huge summer. Lyle Thompson had 3 goals. Travis Longboat had a goal and 2 assists. For the Cobourg Kodiaks, they only had 4 goals. They lost 12-4. Nathan Grennan had a goal and 3 assists. Aaron Woods had a goal and 1 assist. Really not a lot else to talk about there. Justin Sykes had a goal as well as Brock Haley. But it just wasn't close. It is such a disparaging difference between these 2 teams. Cobourg had been looking really good coming into this game. And, Six Nations is here. Well, the rest of the league is here. And it's glaring. It shows week in and week out that that's what's up. We had a home-and-home series on Monday, and that was Oakville and Brooklyn. The first game was at the track, where Brooklyn came from behind with a huge third period to beat the Rock 13-11. The Rock played a really strong game, probably the best one they played in quite a while. Their second period, again, Ryan Lanchbury, he's the guy that does everything for this team. Tyler Hendricks had a couple of goals as well in the second, but they took off in that period, and they were up 9-7 over Brooklyn. Enter the third, Brooklyn comes away with 6 goals, 4 of which were in a run that just took this game out of Oakville's possession. Dawson Theed had a big game. Connor Kiernan with another big game. Sean Wesley with a big game. Austin Shanks, who's been leading that team, even though he's not playing in all their games. But there's so many weapons on this team. And Zach Higgins with another big showing in net. Faced 45 shots. Not an overly powerful performance, but enough to win. And Brooklyn came away with that one. So they had won on Saturday against Brampton after dropping 2 before that. So they were on a 2-game win streak at this stage. We head into Tuesday's games, and it was Six Nations hosting Peterborough. Now, Peterborough started looking like the Peterborough of old, but not in this game. Again, remember, the league is here. Six Nations is here. 7-2 after 1 for Six Nations, and really the rest of it was history. 12-7 was your final. And again, your big scorers in this one: Lyle Thompson, 4 goals and an assist. Austin Stotts, 2 goals and an assist. But honorable mentions, you had a couple of goals from Sundown. You had a goal from Eli McLaughlin. You had another one from Ross Hill. You had Cody Jamieson adding a goal. There's just so many weapons on this team. For Peterborough, Rob Hellier was big with 4 assists. Joe Reseteris had 3 goals, 2 assists. Colton Marquis was making his name in the summer here. 2 goals and 2 assists. Owen Hiltz had 3 assists on the night. And Carter Page, who, as I mentioned in Senior B, also starting to make a name for himself with a goal for Peterborough. But again, Six Nations with yet another big victory. We head into Wednesday and the rubber match between Brooklyn and Oakville. And, well, the other game was close. Not this one. Brooklyn went from pillar to post with Oakville, beating them 19-10. Holochuk started the game. They had in net their third string goalie also, because Holochuk got injured, and that didn't help things. Richards was his name. Riley Hutchcraft was in net for Brooklyn. But again, this game really wasn't close. Brady Kiernan, Tanner Cook, big games. Josh Dawick had a big game for Oakville. I believe he had a hat trick in this one. Dalton Solver with a couple of goals. Ryan Lanchbury, 2 goals, 2 assists. For Brooklyn, Connor Kiernan, 3 goals, 2 assists. Brady Kiernan, 2 goals, 2 assists. John LaFontaine, with his first game of the season, had a goal and an assist. Kyle Waters, 2 goals. Dawson Theed had a goal and 3 assists. Tanner Cook, 2 goals, but 6 assists. And Riley O'Connor, 2 goals, 2 assists. Dylan Robinson added a goal as well. If there's any question that what the number 2 is in this league, Brooklyn is there. In fact, their only not really good showing was against Six Nations And, well, we'll see. Peterborough had a chance to redeem themselves from their loss on the Tuesday, and they went into Brampton on Thursday. And, well, they beat the Excelsiors pretty handily, 11-6. It was 7-3 after one, and the rest was just coasting. For Peterborough, Austin Hazen with a pair of goals. Owen Hiltz with a pair of goals. Holden Catoni with a pair of goals. Singles from Matt Gilray, Dylan Hutchison, and Joe Resett-Terrence. For Brampton, Holden Patterson had 2 goals. Josh Medeiros with a single. Lucas Ferrero, Seth and Shepin. And that was all she wrote. Landon Kells was in net in this game. He looks good. He really does look good. We move over into Saturday. And Coburg and Owen Sound met up with one another. And they had the rubber match again today. And Owen Sound came from behind to beat Coburg in overtime. Now, the story is this, is that with 3/10 of a second left in the third is when Dante Koulis scored. And then Jake McNabb scooping up a rebound in overtime for the victory over Coburg. Stunning Coburg, actually, because they at one point had a couple of goal lead and just couldn't put them away. They met again this evening, and after one period, Owen Sound was up by 4. Now, Coburg had gotten up 3-0, and Owen Sound scored 4 unanswered goals. And we're thinking, we're doing this again. 5-4 after 1 for Owen Sound. Enter the second, and Coburg said, none of this. 5 unanswered goals in the second, which changed the trajectory of this game. And they held on for a 14-9 victory. Big scorer in this game was Aaron Woods with a hat trick. Justin Sykes had 2 goals and an assist. Braden Saris had a goal, 4 assists. Same thing with Brock Haley, goal and 4 assists. David Anderson, 3 goals, 3 assists for Coburg. Big scores for Owen Sound. Jackson Webster, 3 goals. Jonathan Peshko, 2 goals, 3 assists. Tanner Buck with a goal, 4 assists in this game. But to pull up the standings to this point, and we'll see. Six Nations up 11-0. One more game against Oakville on Tuesday. Brooklyn finishes the season 9-3. Peterborough finishes the season 7-5. Coburg 5-7. Oakville sitting there at 4-6, but they have 2 games to play. One of which is against Brampton, and the other one against Six Nations. Owen Sound 3-9, and Brampton at 1-10. So, barring Oakville winning their last 2 games, since the tiebreak, of course, is with Coburg, Six Nations has a bye in the first round. Brooklyn will face Brampton. Peterborough will face Owen Sound, and Coburg and Oakville will face one another regardless, just which one is the home team. And that will be your playoffs that start, I believe, next weekend. Busy. But 2 games left, both Oakville playing, both at track. If you happen to be around Monday or Tuesday, both are worth your time and effort to make it out there. Both 8 p.m. starts. And that will end the MSL season for this summer. Well, guys, that was an easy 90 games to cover. Just a reminder, this part of the show is brought to you by Cherry Injury.
If you get hurt at work, in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Cherry Law Firm is here to fight for you and get what you deserve. Cherry Injury Law is a dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. if you have been seriously injured in the state of PA by the negligence of another, and if you have questions for a Westchester or media personal injury attorney, please don't hesitate to call. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right. And again, that number is 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com.
Absolutely. And Sumi Dog's going there. as soon as he picks up the pieces. Dolan's. Just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Thread, we are on YouTube, as well as at www.eopsports.com/lacrosse. We are your Costco of lacrosse. We are your one-stop shop for everything lacrosse. We have everything up to the moment, and through our resources and our inside shut-ins, we have all the information for you. We always have our fingers on the pulse of the situation. We come to last words, guys. Mike, I'm going to start with you this week.
Two big things I'm looking for, I think, are see how week 9 in the WLA shakes out. And everyone's fighting for basically 6 teams fighting for 3 playoff spots. And want to see if there's something more to this this Courier for Dixon trade.
Right. Shawn, last words.
Yeah, same thing. WLA is going to come right down to the wire, and pretty much, unless you're playing Victoria, every game's important, especially if you're Burnaby or Nanaimo, because you need to beat some of those teams that are ahead of you. And as we mentioned before, too, free agency's coming up here right away too with the NLL. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the NLL free agency in a couple of weeks' time. I have the Fan Cup, so I'll be traveling out to Philadelphia end of this week. So it's going to be exciting to go see some of our fans in Philadelphia as well. Playoffs, that's the word of the week. Playoffs. Juniors already going full bore. A lot of fun watching that. Looking forward to seeing the Ontario Series Lacrosse and who is going to represent in the President's Cup, as well as MSL is going to be starting their playoffs in the next week or so. So this is going to be exciting as well. Lots of meaningful games, lots of great lacrosse. Check out your local listings. There's lots of it to be online. We're going to share a bunch of it as well, and try and get as many people to watch as much as possible, because, man, you're missing out on some terrific lacrosse. Same guys as you're watching in the NLL, guys. Yep. Also, the PLL is going to be exciting, too, in their second half of the season. There's going to be some wild games coming up and some jockeying to try and make the playoffs there with the new playoff formats.
Yeah, do or die. That this week is definitely do or die for Water Dogs and for Redwoods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So unless they want to be outside looking in early on, you expect some big games coming out of them. I really expect a big showing from the Water Dogs this week. So thank you very much, everybody. Again, it's our honor, our privilege to give you all the information up to the minute, up to date. Reach out. We do answer everything that comes at us as quickly as we can. Please check in with us 3, 4, 5 times a day. The news is always changing, and we are going to be there for you through thick and thin, more through thick than anything else, especially with all the different moves that are going to be upcoming. And we will try and make sense of it all for you to make it as easy as possible, as well as give you as many tools to go back and be educated with anything that you need to see in lacrosse. For Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, Muffler Mike in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. I want to thank you again. And until next week, keep your stick in your hands. We'll see you next week.